Hello and welcome to the folding tutorial for Sentry. As you can see, this paper airplane is extremely aggressive looking with those really cool forked prongs on the nose, and I just love the way this template turned out as well. But you might be surprised that this actually flies in a pretty controlled manner. So you can give this a medium power to a hard power throw and it should glide really quite well. So I'll show you the plane in flight, and then I'll teach you how to fold it. All you will need in order to fold Sentry is an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, but if you are using one of my templates, be sure to orient yours as I have mine here. And with that, we'll begin by folding this right edge to the left edge. And once you've done that, you can open this up. And next we want to fold this top edge here to the left edge of our paper. And we want to make sure our crease goes right through this top left corner. So what I like to do is I like to kind of pull my paper until I find that corner, and I just kind of tack it with my finger. And then I swing this bottom corner until it lines up on that edge of the paper. And that's a pretty good way to make sure you're getting an accurate fold here. Because getting it through that top corner precisely can be a little tricky. So once we do that, we can open this back up, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side, folding this top edge to the right edge. Again, we want to make sure our crease goes right through that corner, so I'm just kind of finding the corner and tacking it, and then swinging the bottom corner to that edge of the paper. And creasing along that whole side. And having done that, we'll open it back up once more and actually flip the paper over. And now we want to make a crease that goes right through the intersection of these two creases. So we're just going to fold this top edge down. And you can see we kind of have this triangle here made by these diagonal creases. You want to reveal just the point of that triangle. You can see these creases here, and where they're headed to intersect, that's where, again, you kind of just want to tack that point right where they intersect, and then make sure to line up the center crease on this top layer with the center crease on the bottom layer. And once you've done that, you can crease all the way across. Nope. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure mine's nice and accurate. Okay, and then we can unfold that again and turn it back over. Now we're just going to poke this point right there, and you can see what that does. Currently, our paper is actually bending over right along the full length of this crease, and if I poke that, it kind of creates this point right in the middle, where now very easily I can pull in on each of these sides along these diagonal creases. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the paper right here, pull in like so, and then I can push down on this top section to flatten it like this. And this is called the water bomb base. It's used in a lot of paper airplanes, and Sentry as well as Spectre in my book both use this base. And now that we have it like this, we can go ahead and fold this right kind of triangular flap to the top point of the plane. And we want to be sure we're landing this edge right along our center crease and this point right at the top point of our plane. And we'll do the same thing on the left side as well. And then we will go ahead and unfold both of those. Next, I want to stand the right flap of my paper up, and I'm going to perform what is called a squash fold. And to do that, I'm going to put my finger, or my thumb rather, into this pocket and kind of open it up. And then I push down on the spine of this pocket, like so. And I want to make sure I'm pushing all the way down up to the point of the plane as well to make sure the pocket kind of opens up there. And then I want to land this new point that we're forming right on the center crease of our plane. So it should now look like this. Now, while we have it like this, you can see we have this horizontal crease now that's right here, and we're going to perform a petal fold using that. Now, a petal fold's a little bit tricky as well, but basically I'm going to take both of my thumbs on this top layer down here in this kind of pointed section and begin to swing the whole thing forward like so. And I'm using this horizontal crease as a hinge. And I'm going to slowly push the layers forward like this. And now the objective, as you can see, what it was this layer right here, this edge here, is going to end up landing on the center crease. I want this here to land on the center crease, and I'm going to crease it one side at a time. So I kind of massage it and make sure that I'm landing that edge on the center crease all the way up to the point. And then I'll kind of do the same thing on the other side and make sure everything's nice and tidy. And that is called a petal fold. And now I can go ahead and fold this top layer down again using that horizontal crease as a hinge. And then I will fold this left half of it to the right. And now we're going to repeat a bunch of those steps all on the left side as well. So I want to stand this flap up and squash fold it like we did. So I'm putting my thumb in there and kind of tapping on this spine until it opens all the way down to the nose of the plane. And then I push down, and I want to flatten it so that this point right here lands on the center crease of my plane. Get nice firm creases on either side. And now I'm going to perform a petal fold. And to do that, I am folding on this hinge that is created by this horizontal crease. You may not be able to see it well on camera, but hopefully you can see it well on your own plane. And I want to open it up, and I'm kind of forcing these layers in. I want to land this edge and this edge on the center crease and this point on that top point. So again, I'm just going to work on one side at a time here to kind of finesse it and land that edge on the center crease. And as I'm getting close, I'll do the other side as well. And then I'll kind of focus really nicely right on this point to make sure I've got it as tidy as it's going to be. And again, that is called a petal fold. Okay, so your plane should look like this, and now we can fold this top point down using that same horizontal crease as the hinge. And then we can fold this right side back to the left side. And your plane should look like this. Next, we're going to fold up once again in that same area, right from this point to this point. That's where our crease will be. And we're pulling these layers here and actually creasing on this top layer as we do so. And those should go straight up to the top of the plane. And now, once we have our plane looking like this, we will go ahead and turn the paper over. And now we're going to fold this top point down again at that same point. So as I pull that down, you'll see I'm revealing kind of the corners of this big diamond that we have here, this elongated diamond. I'm pulling it, and my crease that I create on each side of this should be coming right out of the corners of that diamond. Make sure you land this point that you're making right on your center crease. Okay, and now your plane should look like this. Next, we want to fold this top edge here in, and we're going to land this corner on this diagonal line. And so our crease is going to start again right at this corner on the diamond, and we land this corner here on this edge. And we'll do that same thing on the other side as well. So your plane should look like this, and then we're going to actually unfold each of those folds we just made and turn the paper over. Now we're going to use those creases here and actually fold them in this way. The reason we did that is there wasn't a convenient reference on this side, but we want exactly those creases. So now we're just reversing them like so. And I'll do the same thing on this other side. Just folding in on that existing crease, and your plane should now look like this. Now, we have a very tricky step ahead of us. Basically, what I'm going to do is I want to create a crease that goes from this point here to this point here, just on this one layer. And it's a little tricky to do that. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this whole little layer up open, and I'm going to begin to close this layer that I have here. So I'm pulling this open and closing that layer, and as I do that, you'll see that this crease here, this diagonal crease on the top layer, is going to move, and I want to land this edge on that diagonal crease. I know it's really tricky, but just try to watch what I'm doing. I pull this forward with my right hand, and with my left hand I am flattening this, and I want to keep good tension on this as I actually massage this and flatten it so that this edge here is landing in alignment with everything else, just like that. And then once I do that, I can force this back down, and you can see it creates this kind of bubble. And what we want to do with that bubble is we want to go ahead and push it so that we're creating a crease both along this edge here and at the point where it goes as far as it can go to the right. I've kind of just flattened it in that direction as best I can. And ultimately it should look like this. So when I open that back up, you'll see this crease is a valley crease that goes from this point here out to this corner here. And we did that by pulling this forward, pushing this down, and then here we push down and flatten this way. And now I'm going to go ahead and kind of pull this tab down like this. And so all I did was pull it and crease there. And now I want to fold it back in the other direction, but I'm actually going to tuck it into this pocket that exists there. So as I fold back this way, I'm going to kind of open that up and push it in like so. So I know that was tricky, but we're going to have to do the same thing on the other side. So again, I'm pulling this forward like so, flattening this whole side, and it helps. You'll notice I kind of curl this intentionally with my thumb. I allow this layer to curl around my thumb as I pull forward. which helps it to start bending in the correct direction. And then once I've got everything kind of lining up so that this edge is landing on this edge, I can flatten it like so, and now you see this whole section standing. While holding this down, I force this down, and I push this whole bulge and make a crease right along this top layer and flatten the whole thing in that direction. And then I fold back, right like that, and then I tuck this whole tab into this pocket, like so. I know that was difficult. Hopefully you were able to follow that, but if not, I'm sorry, this is one of the more advanced planes in the book. So now what we want to do is we're going to fold these edges right here, this edge here, to this outer edge. And I'll do the same thing on the other side once I'm done here. Fold this edge here to that outer edge. And I will reverse those creases and tuck those flaps under, like so. I'll do the same thing on this other side. Just not making a new crease here, using the same one we already had. Tuck that layer under. And so now here your plane should look like this. Next, we're going to just go ahead and fold it in half using that existing center crease. And we are prepared to fold the wings of our plane. So your plane should look like this. And what I want to do to fold the wings of the plane, I'm basically folding this edge here to this edge here, but I continue that crease all the way down the plane. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. I want that crease to go all the way up to the nose of the plane. And I crease all the way to the back of the plane, and sorry for that squeaking sound. So you can see the reference was folding this edge here to that edge, and so this back wing actually goes far beyond this edge here, but it's just following that same angle all the way back. So I can now flip the paper over and just fold the other side to match. It helps when you fold wings like this to place your fingers at the thickest point of layers, and you can see there are thick layers right here that I really need to work and bend to help me be able to place them accurately. And you can see there are even thick layers up here. I'm going to work those into position, and then I can more gently actually make those creases all the way to the point of the plane, like so. And then I want to make sure I'm landing this back corner of this wing on the back corner of the other wing, assuming you've maintained symmetry up to this point. Which you very well may not have. And there's no shame in that. This is a difficult plane to fold. And you can see we are now ready to just open up the wings like so, and we are almost finished with Sentry here. You can see this plane is looking great. All we have to do are fold little winglets on the edges of the plane that are going to help it fly stably and straight. So I'm going to set the plane back down like this on the table, and I want to not be touching it at all. And you'll notice that the center of the plane is open slightly, and that's exactly what we want, because when you throw the plane, it's going to open just like it is here. And now we want to fold our winglets so they are parallel to the center crease of the plane, because that's going to be the direction of travel when the plane's flying, and you want to minimize drag by making these winglets parallel to that center crease. So to do that, we're just going to grab kind of, you know, a 1/4 inch from the edge of the plane maybe, and folding like so. And I can use one side now that I've done it. I'll pick this back up and kind of book match my wings, you can see. And I can just now fold the other side to match the first side by landing this right on. You can kind of see that back corner. I'm just landing this right on top of that. And now I should have identical winglets on either side. And this is a finished Sentry. I mean, look at that plane. Tell me that's not one of the coolest paper airplanes you've seen. So, a few other points of note. You want to angle the wings of this plane upward slightly. And that is called dihedral angle. It will help the plane to fly straight and in a stable manner. And you'll notice again when I let go of the plane, those wings droop. You want to make sure they still angle upward in this like Y-shaped fashion even after you let go, just slightly. Just a slight dihedral angle will help give it that stability that it needs. And this plane, I don't expect that you'll need it, but you can always bend the back edges of the wings up just slightly if you find that it is diving rather than flying. If it's diving like this, then that is called up elevator, which is going to help it swoop upward slightly rather than dive down. I hope you found this video to be helpful. As always, good luck flying your plane.